I read a book I was supposed to read in middle school. I watched the second Trolls movie. I am a grown man. I do not have children. It was an okay film. I turned 23 the same month that a Michael Jordan documentary was released. Coincidence? Yes, coincidence. I will never dunk. Hi, I'm Sam, and those are 3 of 4 of my favorite things I've done during quarantine. I'll tell you the 4th later. Because we are talking about what to do when you don't know what to do and following Joseph through his crazy story full of twists and turns. In this video, if you stick with me for the next couple of minutes, I believe that you will have the confidence to handle most of life's most difficult situations. So let's recap with Joseph. He was hanging out with his brothers. They got jealous of his cool coat. Some other stuff happened. And then they sent him into slavery. Their own brother. He was sent to Egypt and he worked for a high-powered military official where he worked hard and got a pretty good promotion. All right, things were looking up for Joseph. Then he was accused of a crime he didn't commit and sent to prison. It's kind of like the Count of Monte Cristo, except not at all like the Count of Monte Cristo. So, the story picks up not on Joseph in prison, but somewhere else with a cupbearer, a baker, and a pharaoh. Here we are in Genesis. Sometime later, the cupbearer and the baker of the king of Egypt offended their master, the king of Egypt. Pharaoh was angry with his 2 officials, the chief cupbearer and the chief baker, and put them in custody in the house of the captain of the guard, in the same prison where Joseph was confined. The cupbearer did something to really upset the Pharaoh. He must have gotten him the Cab Sav when he wanted the Sauv Blanc. That one's for you leaders. But he sent the baker and the cupbearer to prison, the same prison that Joseph was at, and the story continues. After they had been in custody for some time, each of the 2 men, the cupbearer and the baker of the king of Egypt, who were being held in prison, had a dream the same night, and each dream had a meaning of its own. When Joseph came to them the next morning, he saw that they were dejected, so he asked Pharaoh's officials, who were in custody with him in the master's house, "Why do you look so sad today?" "We both had dreams," they answered, "but there is no one to interpret them." Then Joseph said to them, "Do not interpretations belong to God? Tell me your dreams." So the baker, the cupbearer, and Joseph are all in prison together. The baker and the cupbearer have these dreams, and they're upset because there's no one there to interpret them. And then Joseph shows up, and Joseph is able to interpret their dreams. He interprets the cupbearer's dream, and things look good. He tells the cupbearer that his position will be restored with the Pharaoh, and it was. He tells the baker he's not going to be so lucky, and he wasn't. You can see for yourself, this story is crazy. But eventually, when the cupbearer is getting released from prison, Joseph asks a favor of him. He says, "Tell the Pharaoh about me. Tell him how I helped you so that I can be free too." And the cupbearer is like, "Yeah, okay. All right." Things are looking pretty good for Joseph. Well, the cupbearer completely forgot about him. And Joseph spent 2 more years in prison before something miraculous happened. The reason I tell you all that is because I'm sure when Joseph was in prison, when all these things were happening to him, he felt so sad and hopeless. And he was probably tempted to ask himself questions like, why is this happening to me? What have I done to deserve this? Has God completely and utterly forgotten about me? I know in my personal life, I've felt those things before. I've asked those questions before. And maybe you have too when you're faced with a difficult or challenging situation. You get made fun of. You go through a bad breakup. You experience some type of failure. Things at home aren't going incredibly well. Maybe your parents are going through a divorce. Someone you deeply love and care about passes away. Like Joseph, we all face problems and difficulties in life. Right now, as a world, we are facing a global problem. And when we go through these problems and difficulties, we can think, this is random, this is pointless, this is unnecessary. We can question why we are going through these hard things. where you are going to face hard things in life. But you have to remember, God is not doing those things to you. God did not want those things to happen to you. But because of sin, there is hurt. And because of sin, people hurt other people. And you may think there is no way, it is completely impossible for this bad thing I'm going through to turn into anything good. But you have to remember that God does the impossible and the miraculous. 2 years after the cupbearer forgot about Joseph, the Pharaoh that the cupbearer was working for had a dream that he needed to be interpreted immediately. No one around him could interpret the dream. No one in his circle could interpret the dream. And that's when his cupbearer remembered an old friend from prison. Joseph was released, and he interpreted the Pharaoh's dream with 100% accuracy. This led to him eventually being promoted to second in command just behind the Pharaoh. And then he eventually led Egypt to survive a terrible famine. All right. It's like things are looking up for Joseph. And they actually were. In no means was his life completely perfect after this. But everything that Joseph went through, every difficulty and problem that Joseph went through, being sent into slavery by his own brothers, being accused of a crime he didn't commit, spending 2 extra years in prison, all the things he went through led to him doing something great, something that only he could do. Whatever you might be going through right now, God has not forgotten about you, and he will never forget about you. Romans chapter 8, verse 28 says, God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. Whatever you're experiencing, whatever you're going through, God is in the business of taking the hurt, the pain, the bad experiences, the broken experiences, the confusion, and he turns them into something good for you and for the people around you. When you don't know what to do, your problems can position you for a purpose. Your problems can position you for a purpose so that you know what to do further down the line of something you may not be able to see yet. Your problems can position you for a purpose of helping others go through something maybe you have already been through. Your problems can position you for a purpose. I want to tell you my 4th favorite thing that I've done during this hard time we're all going through. I've grown so much closer to the people around me. With everything going on, I have felt lonely at times. I have felt sad at times. I have felt confused at times. But the people around me, my friends and my family, have helped me navigate those emotions and persevere. This is very important. Your problems can position you for a purpose, and the people around you can help you through them. Your problems can position you for a purpose, and the people around you can help you through them. This time is hard. There's no getting around that. But whatever emotions you're feeling, what you're feeling, it's so important to talk to the people around you that you trust. That can be your small group leader, your friend, your family. And we hope you know we're here for you at Athens Church too. AC students, thank you so much for listening. I love you, I miss you, and I will see you soon.